So by now you should be familiar with what the fill light is and how to use it on your films. But what's this thing called negative fill? And how can you use it to craft the look and the shape of your images? Well, in this video, I'll not only answer those questions, but I'll show you some professional tools and some DIY solutions that you can use on your next project. If the fill light adds light to the shot in order to decrease contrast levels of the key light, negative fill is the opposite. It removes light from the shot in order to increase contrast levels. Anytime you're looking to make the blacks or the shadows of your image darker, consider adding negative fill. I'm guessing right about now you're thinking, if negative fill is about removing light, can't I just turn lights off? Yeah, that's where you start. But many times, simply turning off a light isn't good enough. To stop light from bouncing around and filling in the shadows, additional measures have to be taken. Enter negative fill. Typically, negative fill is a flag of some kind and it's positioned to cut the light bouncing back into the shadows or the fill side of the shot. Another way to look at it is that the fill side of the shot is reflecting everything that it sees into the camera. If you're looking from the talent's position, the fill side of the shot reflects the light from that angle. If it's a wall, it reflects that wall. If you put a black flag there, it's now seeing black and it's reflecting black. Now that you know what negative fill is, let's put it into practice. When I first began, I'd often think to myself, I'm inside and I can control the light at the location, so I don't need to worry about negative fill. Wrong. That can't be further from the truth. Even if you can turn every light off in a location, you should still be thinking about negative fill. That's because every light you turn on adds to the ambient light levels. It's adding to your fill. Like it or not, light continues to bounce around the room, off the walls, off the ceiling, everywhere. So to make sure your blacks are deep and rich, add in a flag or a floppy to cut the light levels to the fill side of your shot in order to increase your contrast. The size of the negative fill you use will be dependent on the shot size and the size of your subject. The smaller the shot and the subject, the smaller the negative fill can be. You might be able to use a 2x3 solid or smaller if the shot is only a close-up. The larger the shot and the subject, the bigger the negative fill has to be. If you're on a medium or wide shot, you might have to use a 4x4 floppy or even bigger. As a side note, here's a neat little trick. Let's say you want to increase the contrast levels overall for an interview, so you bring in your 4x4 floppy. And now you have the contrast set to where you want it overall, but you still want to bring up just the fill levels on the face. What do? Well, it's simple. Just add in some copy paper or foam core. You can easily tape it to the flag and put it in the position that you want it. This way, the overall contrast isn't affected, just the part of the shot you want it to bring up. Another way to use negative fill is to help control the colors of your shadow. Maybe there's some colored walls and they're contaminating your shadows, turning them a color that you don't want. Simply add in a large negative fill to block the bounce light, and then bring in a white card to dial in your fill levels. Now your shadows will be clean since they will be filled with a white bounce. You should also be thinking about using negative fill anytime you're shooting an exterior scene. Outside light bounces around everywhere. And here in the Pacific Northwest, we usually get a lot of overcast days that really flatten out our exterior scenes, making them boring. So to add contrast to the shot, I'll bring in negative fill, which instantly adds contrast and shape to my images. The tricky part of using negative fill outside is that the subject sees so much of the environment. That means that the fill side is getting a lot of contamination from the sky and the ground, everything around it. So you have to use bigger pieces of negative fill in order to see a difference. Most of the time, that means using a 4x4 solid, but usually that's only good for a close-up or maybe a medium shot. Since all you're doing is removing light from the fill side, the tools for negative fill can be really cheap. If you're really tight on funds, all you need is some kind of black material. Heck, if you're in a pinch, you could even use a coat, but usually you'll want a thick black material like felt. Then all you have to do is to clip it to a frame, a C-stand, or anything you can safely mount to the shot. If the material is light enough, I've even taped it or pinned it to a wall. The drawback to any do-it-yourself solution is that it slows you down on set. So if you want to speed things up and not take forever trying to figure out how to rig your black cloth, just buy or rent the real tools, flags and floppies. They're made out of duvetine, which is a thick black material that's also flame retardant, meaning they're less likely to catch fire than the do-it-yourself fabric. I found it's usually a best practice not to burn down your sets. And the best part is that the professional negative fill gear is really cheap to rent. So negative fill is a quick and easy way to remove light from the fill side of your shot in order to increase the contrast in your images. Whether you're inside or out, I'd highly encourage you to think about using negative fill. It might just be the tool that you need in order to get your blacks to the richness that you want them. So have you learned anything new? Or have you been using negative fill all along? I want to know, so leave a comment below. And if you have any questions, ask away, and I'll be sure to respond.